Welcome back to another Toy Tuesdays. I'm Talent, the Eccentric Collector, and today, carrying on with the Juggernaut BAF wave, we're covering Iceman. Let's get into it.
Cerebro activate.
Cerebro online.
Please pull up the file for Iceman 2016.
Accessing file. Iceman 2016. Iceman, Robert Louis Bobby Drake, first appearance. The X-Men #1, September 1963. Created by Stan Lee, writer, Jack Kirby, artist.
Iceman was in the very first X-Men issue, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the Legends. Bobby was the second X-Man, actually, after Cyclops. Like most X-Men, Iceman's been part of a lot of teams, including X-Factor, Champions, the Defenders, Marauders, and even the Fantastic Four at one point. Sometime later, he ended up rejoining the X-Men, and at that point, they were divided into two teams. We had the blue team and the gold team, and Iceman joined the gold team, which was led by Storm. I actually prefer the gold team to the blue team. Cerebro, can you pull up the action figure?
Iceman, X-Men Juggernaut Build-A-Figure Wave, released in 2016. Retail price, $19.99. Aftermarket price, high $132.50. Low, $23.50. Accessories, Juggernaut left arm.
This figure came out in 2016, and I must say, he still holds up all these years later. This figure was one of the ones that was still on shelves, so didn't really have a problem finding him. Once again, he retailed at $19.99, which was the going price for action figures back then. Ah, the good old days. And this is impressive. Look at the high, $132.50. I must have missed that, thank goodness, because I wanted a second one of these, because this is a great look for Iceman. It's a very traditional look for Iceman. The low is at $23.50, which is about probably around what I paid for my second one, because like I said, the first one I got for retail. He didn't come with any accessories other than the Juggernaut left arm BAF piece, which is a little disappointing. Could have used some alternate hands, maybe some ice power effects, or even better, an ice slide. That would be amazing. Hopefully maybe one day they'll do a deluxe Iceman with an ice slide. Overall, this was a fantastic Iceman figure. My only complaint with this figure, the plastic that they used to make this figure is kind of gummy. His legs end up getting really wobbly. So as fantastic as this figure looks, over time he has problems standing. So you gotta get creative with the way that you pose him. I currently have this particular figure in my Sentinel display with the rest of the main X-Men teams. I do have the second one, which I used his head and hands on a Strike Force body to add to my Cosmic X-Men display. Alright, let's get into the powers and abilities.
Powers and abilities. Thermokinesis, Hydrokinesis, Cryokinesis. Ability to assume an enhanced physical form made of ice.
His power activated while he was out on a date with a young lady that was being harassed by a bully, and Iceman kind of reached out to get this guy away from her and ended up encasing the guy in a block of ice. And people started freaking out because, of course, there's this kid who generated ice out of nowhere. So, basically the townspeople come in with their pitchforks. Policemen had no choice but to lock him up for his own safety. And when they did that, Cyclops ended up coming to the jail and tried to free him, but Iceman didn't want any part of it. Sometime later, Xavier and Cyclops showed up to Bobby's house and convinced his parents. They thought it would be a good idea if he went with Xavier, so he ended up becoming the second X-Man. Thermokinesis, Hydrokinesis, Cryokinesis. These abilities give him the power to instantly decrease the temperature of ambient water vapor in his immediate environment to below 0 degrees Celsius. He can actually make ice that's so strong it won't break unless he wills it to. One of the coolest things he does with this ability is he makes slides, which he forms rapidly beneath his feet, and it's slick. So he slides along these ice slides, and it gives him the ability to move around really fast. He is also immune to sub-zero temperatures, and he's able to perceive the thermal energy level of objects around him. Because cold is the absence of heat, Iceman does not actually emanate cold. Rather, he decreases thermal energy. Very interesting. Iceman's considered an Omega level mutant. Basically, it means he's incredibly powerful because he can actually influence the ecosystem of the entire world. And from what we know, he has yet to tap into his full potential. When he first started, he was throwing snowballs, and then as he got more powerful, he would end up throwing icicles. So incredibly sharp icicles flying at you. Yeah, he's dangerous. But even more dangerous, he can actually freeze the liquid in somebody else's body. So he could either encase you in an ice cube, or he can literally turn you into an ice cube. He also transforms his own body into solid ice, and if for some reason somebody's able to shatter him, like break off an arm or something, he is able to draw in ambient moisture around him and rapidly replace the part of his body. If the thing can be made from ice, he can make it. Iceman is one of my favorite X-Men for sure. Cerebro, can you pull up the power grid?
Accessing power grid. Analyzing subject.
As I like to mention, you can find these power grids. They're slightly different sometimes, but you can find them either on the Marvel metal cards, or you can go to marvel.fandom.com. They have their own version of the power grid. It's similar, but not exactly the same. Alright, let's start with strength. He is at a 3, which is athletic. And of course that makes sense because he is always training. He has been training since he was a teenager with the X-Men in the Danger Room. So he's definitely strong. Let's move on to intelligence. He's at a 2, normal human, which absolutely makes sense. He's definitely not even a straight A student. This guy was always goofing around, so learning was probably the last thing on his mind. He's not a moron, but, you know, normal human. Alright, on to speed. He is at a 3, which is athletic. And I'd imagine a lot of that speed is generated from his ice slide. And I can also imagine that depending on the slope, he would actually be faster depending on how steep that slide is. On to fighting ability. He is at a 4, a world heavyweight champ. And again, training in the Danger Room, I cannot stress this enough. That will make anybody a great fighter. You just think of all the X-Men you're training with. It's definitely going to level up your game. On to stamina. He's at a 3, athletic. Can't stress this enough. Training is important, people. You want to get your stamina up, you gotta work out regularly. Or you can get into battles with the likes of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Let's move on to agility. Again, a 3, circus acrobat. I think his ice slides definitely add to his agility. Being able to weave around and slide up and slide down. He's probably pretty hard to catch. On to energy projection. This is a big one. He's at a 4, Patriot missile. So like I said earlier, if he launches some icicles at you, those things are gonna hit. They're gonna hit hard, and he can project them, and he can project them like a missile. So when he's shooting ice at you, you can imagine it's not just gonna pack a punch. It's gonna be really cold as well. Iceman's gone toe-to-toe with some of the baddest villains in the game, and he's come out on top, so he is a formidable X-Man. He's actually one of my favorites. Looking at the overall stats here, he is definitely above average. If I were putting him on a team, Iceman would definitely fit good on any team for any kind of mission that you're doing. Whether you're going in for a recon and you need someone to freeze all the security cameras or freeze people in place, or you're going to be fighting some powerful supervillain, Iceman's a good guy to have on your side. Cerebro, you got anything for us before we leave?
Be sure to check out X-Men 97 Reactions with Talent. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe, everybody. It would be much appreciated. So until next time, I'm Talent, the Eccentric Collector, reminding you, keep collecting, and Excelsior!